Knowing what I know now, what I would tell my younger self is I would say, girl, now that you've graduated high school, figure out what your skills are, figure out what your talents are. In essence, figure out what your human life value is, because your human life value is all of the things that you have learned up until the age that you are right now, and your inherent gifts that you have. Okay, so once you find out what your gifts are, hone those gifts. Once you find out what your skills are, then take that skill and build upon it, and then add more skills to it. Okay, back during that time in the 80s, right? My younger self, this was back in the 80s, and college was still a thing. Going to college and getting a degree, that was still a thing. I would tell my younger self to not drop out of college because her significant boyfriend is going through life issues. I would have told her to stay in college, get her doctorate degree, graduate from college, go into the workforce. Once you start to earn your keep for yourself, take at least 5 to 10% of that and put it away in a very high yielding fund, and don't touch it. Don't touch it unless you absolutely have to. As a matter of fact, make it the last resort. Try to figure out whatever you can, if you fall into an emergency, how you're going to get through that emergency without dipping into that emergency fund. But if you have to dip into it, then dip into it, but try to replace it as quickly as you possibly can. Okay? But start small, 5 to 10%. Put it away in that fund. Don't touch it. By the time you reach the age, I'll say late age, 20, 28, 29, 30, you would have amassed quite a bit of money in that fund to use as a cushion for if you wanted to get married, right? And what I would tell her is, okay, this is money that you've earned before marriage. This is money that needs to stay over here and not go into the marriage, because you never know what might happen, right? When we get married, we want it to last until death do us part. I think that we all go into marriage with this thought. At least I would like to think that we all go into marriage with this thought. But the reality is that over half of marriages end in divorce. And so if you're not going to do a prenup, then continue to use that fund, continue to put money away in that fund. And then if the rug is pulled from under your feet while you're married, or if a divorce ensues, or whatever happens in that marriage to where, you know, you would have to separate, then guess what? You won't have to fret, because you've been saving 5 to 10% of your income since you started working. Now, I started working at the age of 14. I grew up on the west side of Chicago. I rode a bike throwing sales papers for local mom and pop stores. And I started making money at the young age of 14, okay? And I've been working ever since. I never stopped working since I started working at the age of 14. And if I would have the wherewithal or even the good counsel to take the money that I was making from the age of 14 up until the age that I am now, nonstop, no matter what, I would be a millionaire. I would be a millionaire. Okay? And I wouldn't have felt the need to rely on someone else for my sustenance, right? That's another thing that I would tell my younger self. Never rely on someone or something else for your sustenance, right? Always know how to bring it into yourself, right? Money, wealth, whatever it is that you desire, learn how to bring that to yourself using your skills and your gifts. And yes, that's going to take work. Also, what I would tell my younger self is heal from past trauma. Heal from past trauma, because a lot of the trauma that we walk around with, it hinders us in our everyday lives. It hinders us in the workplace. It hinders us, when we try to go into business for ourselves, or when we go into business for ourselves. It hinders us because we have to deal with other people. And if we're walking around with a tremendous amount of trauma, then it's going to be very, very difficult to deal with the people that we come in contact with on a day-to-day basis, to be able to run our business, or even be able to work, or work amongst our coworkers, right? So I will tell her to heal, to go into therapy or heal, whatever way she feels fit to heal, to make sure that she heals before she goes out into the workforce, or during that time, right? Before going into a marriage, before going into a serious relationship, I will tell her to heal her mother wound. Okay. I would tell her not to have children until if we're going to put an age on it, I would say until the age of 30, 31, 32, because by that time, if she would have been working on herself, she would have been in a really good position if she wanted to bring a child into the world. But most time, children are brought into the world by mistake. Most time, children are brought into the world when they don't need to be here. And I know that sounds harsh. But bringing a child into this world when we know what's going on around us, that is a major mistake, because now you have brought a life into this place that has to deal with this place, okay? So I would tell her that. I will also tell her to learn discipline, make discipline a habit, make it a daily habit, right? I would tell her to make sure that she's very intentional with everything that she does in her life, not to be perfect, not to shoot for perfection, but to just be very intentional about everything that she does, right? Because every second of the day we are manifesting the next second, right? Every second we are manifesting the next second, right? We can't get away from that. That's something that is a part of us. We are always manifesting. I've always said this in the past, and it is what it is. We are always manifesting. So think about that. I would tell her to, before she say anything, before she do anything, think about the fact that she is manifesting right now. Me right now, as I am shooting this video and talking to you, I am manifesting, okay? So manifestation is not this mystical thing that people think it is. What it is it's who you are. It's how you walk in this world until you change, or until you find out who you are, and if you don't like that, then change it, right? So that you can be something else, right? So manifestation is about becoming, right? It's about who you are at the time and who you are becoming, right? So everything that you do in the present moment bleeds over into the next moment, the moment that comes after that, okay? And so I will tell her that as well. So that's pretty much the gist of it. I would tell her to just center herself. Just center herself, and don't look for love on the outside of herself, and don't look for sustenance on the outside of herself. And if she can build that habit from the ripe young age of 19 up until the age that I am now, my life would look totally different, and I would be more at peace. I wouldn't have suffered from anxiety, I wouldn't suffer from any health issues that I am dealing with now. I would be at peace. I would be healthy. I would be wealthy. I would be happy. I would be joyful and wise.